All right, what's going on, everyone? We're gonna try and just let a few people get in here before we start. You guys got time to go grab a drink or something? And yeah, we're gonna give this a shot. This is my first time trying this out. We're gonna try and start the video maybe in like let's try it at 8:30 my time. It's Eastern, so we're talking about maybe we'll start in about 5 minutes or so. And once we start, it's just gonna be the video. So at that point, I'm gonna be watching with you guys. Feel free to hop into Discord if you want to chat. Gonna go ahead and give a little bit of a preface here. So what this is a one shot that me and Gwilder decided to put together. It is very last minute. We just like had the idea. I contacted him about it, and I think the day after we got together and recorded it. Everything about what you're about to see is I didn't actually do hardly any editing at all. I spliced a couple things together. I cut out some of the beginning and the end, and that was basically it. Otherwise, it's pretty much straight live content as it was as we did it. Um, and it's it's just a story. He's playing a character. We're just kind of going through the story. Normally in my campaigns and everything, there's a lot more choices and um, a lot more decisions and things going on. But this is a lot more. Um, huh. This is a lot more. Um, just here's the scenario and kind of going through it. My I hope you guys can hear me okay because it's saying that my audio bitrate is 0. which should not be correct. Okay. It's the same error as Discord. Discord constantly tells me that, we can't detect your sound for some reason. It's very weird. I'm starting to wonder what that's about. Anyway. I think pretty much I think everyone that's going to be here is gonna be here. I would would like a Marsha verification. And I am going to attempt to actually upload this video properly. Um, but this was the best solution I could come up with since my upload didn't work. So. All right. Well, I think it is about that time. So, let's see if this works. Hey everyone, what's going on? This is Cross, and I am excited to bring to you today a 5th edition one-shot adventure that's set in the prehistoric era of my campaign world. I'm DMing, and Gwilder, who's a player in my normal campaigns, is playing a character that is going through this scenario. It's a little railroaded, but it's designed to tell a story. This is going to be a 2-part adventure. I hope everyone enjoys it, and thank you for watching. A long time ago, a village was formed. They were the first peoples. Very quickly, whatever entities were the original people they became everyone that we know today. All the different races and other people, they were all created from the first. Your village is very early on in that developmental cycle as people can be born that have seemingly no resemblance whatsoever to their parents. The village is very small. Occasionally, a few tents can be seen, but for the most part, a large rock outcropping just hangs over the most of the village. Is propped up by several other rocks, and campfires can be seen from beneath the rock, lighting it up and heating it up to allow heat to just permeate throughout this village. Everyone has their roles, everyone does their job. There's no market, there's no trade. It's you do your work and you get everything that you need. You get your shelter, you get your food. You get your share. And your share is equal to the work of anyone else. You get enough to survive, they get enough to survive. Some people are capable of doing more for the village, others are not, but that doesn't matter. Everyone is entitled to survive. And that is the spirit of this village. There are two deities that exist, and that is simply what is known as the light and what is known as the dark. Those entities, if you will. The light is what is thought of to have created your people and give them this place for their own. Nearby is the Mountain of Light, whereas it's thought that the first people were created and they descended off the mountain and arrived here. You want to go ahead and describe your character?
Asor is a tall man, 6'4", about 200 plus pounds, rippling with muscle. He is dark of skin, with a head shaved very close, very short dark hair. He also has a small beard. His face is carved with lines of a very serious demeanor. He almost never smiles. And his brown-eyed gaze is very piercing. He lounges on the ground, fiddling with some wood and taking little bites out of it with a small stone knife.
Okay. Asser, you are one of the chief's aides. Comes up to you. Asher, the chief would like a meeting with you.
Where is he?
He's back at his tent. They arrived this morning from the hunt, empty-handed.
His brow furrows. That is not good. He kind of stands up from his seated position, kind of stretches out a little bit. I will go to him now.
I will take your post as your gun.
He inclines his head and starts making his way.
Very well, brother.
And you?
So he takes your post as you were guard of the city, or guard of the the little village, keeping it from any other threats while the hunting party is gone. The chief's tent is about the same as all the others. It just belongs to him. You know, nothing, no extra decoration, no extra anything. You know, this is just his role. You see, rations being divided among the village, but you're not sure how many or how much of the rations are left. This hunt was supposed to replenish those stocks. Hearing they came back empty-handed, little cause for concern.
Yeah.
Setting foot into the chief's tent, you see fairly average, average sized man for the time anyway. He's still very large, over 6 foot. Just out of necessity, just very lean and cut. He has a stone axe that he has chipping away at that he's making. He looks up at you when you arrive. How's
Chief, you called.
You have defended the village several times now from attack while we have been gone, without loss of life. The hunting party is leaving again in the morning. We know of a creature that we can kill, but we need aid in doing so. I wish to invite you to the hunting party.
I will come. Anything for the tribe.
I will see you in the morning. I will speak with Kali Iana Rejectorus if you have any questions. They should be free. Tianithra is busy catching up on some of her duties as she has been gone.
I understand. I will go to them and then I will prepare for the next day.
Very well. Continues working on his axe.
Asir pivots and walks out of the tent.
Okay. What would you like to do? Do you want to go talk to any one of these people, or just wait for the morning?
I would. Asir wants to walk through the village, and he will talk to the first of the three he'll see.
Okay. You want to just go ahead and roll me a d6?
Sure.
We'll just... I have them in order on the list, so... One, two, three, four, five, six.
I rolled a 1.
A one. So Kali,
All right.
you see her over by one of the fences. Um, a very dark-skinned woman. Um, with sort of uh, dreadlocked, very very large, dark hair. Uh, very strong, just very toned. Um, has several spears beside her, making another.
Sir will approach her, but stop about 8 feet away.
She just glances over at you.
I am Asir. The chief has asked me to join you on the hunt tomorrow.
She smiles. Fresh blood, then?
Yes. How should I prepare? What can I expect?
Whatever your preparations are, I suggest you just try not to die.
He kind of looks at her a little dissatisfied with this answer. What happened on your last hunt?
We had a smaller creature that we could have taken, but it ran off, spotted one of us. We have been stalking, we have known of a very large creature. It is taller than boulders, massive in size. It roams with a pack. If we can get one of them isolated, we can trap it, ward off the rest of the pack, and perhaps take one of them alone.
What manner of creature? What does it look like?
She points to the large overhang that is maybe 50 or 60 feet tall. She says it is as big as that.
Asir stares at the outcropping, his eyes getting a little bigger. That is large.
It is why we have not attempted to take it before. But it is either this or die now.
And the creature has plenty of meat.
It will be hard to consume it all without spoiling.
Asir nods.
I believe that Tianathra has even figured out a way of preventing spoiling.
That's impossible.
There's a lot of things that woman does that is impossible. I doubt she would
Yes,
make such a claim without having some merit behind it.
we will see. First, the creature.
Are you good at following instructions?
Yes,
We'll see how good at following instructions you are when a creature of that size is barreling down upon you.
he looks at her with narrowed eyes. Yes, we will see. Um, After that, he just turns away.
We leave before first light.
I will be there.
She continues making some spears.
Um, Asir will go to see to his own preparations. Um, he has his own spears to prepare. Make sure all his hides are in good order. His shield is clean and not in a shabby condition.
Okay.
Um, and he'll go to bed.
Okay.
He won't sleep very well, but he wants to wake up before the time.
So in the morning you wake and you see the hunting party on the um, southern end of town. You see um, a dark skinned, dreadlocked haired woman that you spoke with last night, Ka'ali. You see the very tall, she's probably 7 feet tall. Very dark tanned skin. Just, she spends a lot of time out in the sun. Um, very, very light blonde hair. Straight. Uh, she has a very large, kind of like a recurve bow. Just, you've heard of this thing that was developed by Erkenbolt. Um, he's made a few of them, but apparently hers in particular is the most powerful. It takes massive strength to pull back, and her back muscles reflect this. She is a very stout woman. Um, Chekarus, you've seen him before. This scaled lizard-like. Um, he's the only one of his kind here. The only one that's been born. He was born from basically what would amount to two humans, and he showed up. Which again is not a very strange occurrence in this day and age.
Right.
He would essentially be close to what like a dragonborn would be, but no dragons exist. You don't know what they are. Um, and he is kind of just a brown coloring. Very very non-distinct. Tianethra, the slender beauty with the pointy ears. Um, Silver skin. Um, long, straight white hair. She is the tribal healer. Erkenbolt, the builder, the construction, the designer, if you will, the solver of problems. Very very large, you know, um, built man. You know, he's probably about 5'10" or so, but just a very very stocky, lots of muscle. Um, Long beard, just that's braided down. Escalon is probably stands at 5 foot. Again, very strong individual. Um, just one of the short and stocky ones of the village. He'd be closer to, for your purposes, he's close to a dwarf nowadays.
All right.
Um, and they're all standing there.
Sir will approach them.
They all sort of look towards you.
I have come. I am ready.
We have a large challenge in front of us, the chief speaks. I believe we have a solid plan in taking this creature down. It will take a few hours to get there. To the first point. This creature will be a couple days away. Follow instructions and we should get through this.
Yes.
You continue traveling. Kali's got all her spears that she made. Kind of looks towards you. Did you find enough spears?
Yes. He kind of, as he's kind of jogging or running, he'll touch the spear strapped to his back.
Mm-hmm. Iana kind of comes up. So how do you fight?
I stand in front of the enemy. I block with my shield, and I kill with my spear.
Very effective. I like this.
The light watches over what I do and makes me strong.
Yakras kind of turns. We will see how long your shield stands against this creature.
Esther looks over at Jekris. It will stand until the job is done.
If it does not, then we may have to restore your arm.
He kind of looks at him with like a little bit quizzical. Jack just kind of goes silent and just keeps jogging.
Eventually, you reach the first camp They set up watch. They seem to be well-oiled machines setting up camp very quickly. They all know exactly what they need to do so. They haven't really given you any instructions yet.
Esther will try to do his part.
Mm-hmm.
He'll try to see if there's any two-person job or something that he can help with without getting in someone's way.
So you just kind of assist, gathering a little bit of firewood. Um, you see Eric and Bolt sort of finding a good location, and settling on a place. It has a large stone nearby to sort of reflect the heat. Um, the chief goes out and finds just a little bit of food, just enough for the hunting party, you know. And Scallon um once the firewood is gathered, Scallon kneels next to the flame, begins meditating over it until you see a flame ignite just from his focus.
Esther will openly stare at this, a bit flabbergasted.
There, all done.
Where's your flint?
It is me.
How did you make that fire?
The elements call to me. It is within my breath.
That's a very powerful gift.
Hey, 'tis. Many of us are given powerful gifts. Many of us wield them. Though part of the hunting party is making sure that some of these gifts, until the extent in which they're wielded, is kept from the rest of the village for their own good. You never know how superstitious they can get.
What gifts do the others have?
Oh, you'll see. You'll see.
Esther kind of stares at the fire for a while.
Adrian Bolt comes. Good lad. Kind of smacks you.
He'll buckle a little bit, surprised.
This being your first trip, we're likely to go easy on you.
Don't. I will prove my worth and my usefulness to the hunting party.
Eventually, yes. No one proves themselves on the first hunt. I promise you. But right now, we only need one thing from you. That's to live. Do as you're told and live.
I can do that.
We'll see. Get some rest. We already have all the watches covered.
I will. He'll prepare, kind of smoothing away rocks from the ground where he's going to rest.
Okay.
Um, he kind of turns his back from everyone, kind of looks off into the night.
It's nice, you look towards the night sky and you can just see the cresting top of the mountain of light, and the sky above is just radiating these lights of greens and just colors. The Just straight off the mountaintop.
He whispers a simple prayer under his breath before he drops off.
Yeah. Sort of startled awake. It's already getting daylight. They left before dark before. You look around and no one's in camp.
Are there things still around?
No.
Like, Aster will look at the fire.
It's
Is it burned?
it's just now going out.
He'll finish putting it out and kind of look around. What kind of terrain are we in?
Currently a lot of woods, very tall, thick trees.
He'll stay quiet for a few moments and try to listen really hard, see if he can hear them if they're nearby.
All right, go ahead and give me a perception check.
All right. I rolled a 6 plus 4 is 10.
Okay. You listen. You're beginning to hear the animals coming awake, coming alive within the woods, potentially masking the sound of any sort of movement.
He'll kind of furrow his brow and start making careful steps around where they camped and see if he can see any disturbed, you know, plant growth or maybe a branch broken off here, some footsteps, uh, and some leaves or something,
Okay. Go ahead and
some
make
sort of trail.
either an investigation or survival check.
I'll make a survival check. Natural 1.
You you're looking around, sort of frantic. Um, and you think you start seeing the prints head off in a direction, and then it seems as if they just sort of vanish. They only got like a few steps out of the like away from the campfire, much less into the woods before the steps just. I mean, there's just nothing.
Okay. He'll like finish basically erasing the camp, anything that was made by them, he'll kind of take apart, make sure the fire is completely smothered. He'll grab what stuff he has and he'll kind of pick a direction to walk in, opposite from where they came from. If he can remember
Mm-hmm.
the direction they came from.
Go ahead and just make another survival check.
Okay. 18 plus 4 is 22.
Okay. Yeah, you do a pretty good job. You remember what direction they said that they were going. Start heading that way. Good part of the day sort of goes by as you're traveling, and there's this large bird that you notice sort of stands out. Kind of, you just feel like you just keep seeing it over and over again as you're going, and it just kind of takes off at some point. And
I'll watch it fly off and keep going.
yeah, it's a pretty good sized bird. And you hit this one ridge, and down the ridge, you can kind of zigzag down to the bottom, and you see a campfire being constructed. You see several shapes just kind of moving about.
He'll walk towards them, expecting them to be the hunting party.
Okay. You kind of head down. And sure enough, you see them. They've already gathered the wood. They've set up the camp and everything. Probably just a little early. You know. See Tanethra look over. Oh, look, he made it.
I have made it. I will pass your tests.
Well done.
He has Usher has a little bit of a frown on.
You see Escalon kind of, is sort of stoking the fire. They took me 2 days to find them when they left me. Short legs.
He nods. I figured you left me as a test.
Tests are always needed. Chief over there by the rock. If there's
I
one
will.
thing we need to know is if anything happens and we get separated, we need to know you can make your way back.
I can,
I'm sure you
and I
paid
will.
attention, very close attention to the woods as you traveled through. Ayana just kind of comes from behind you. Strange. Nothing but this cliff behind you, Made it?
He kind of turns. Yes.
It's very good.
Were you left behind as well?
Me, I was not. Watching you.
I did not see you. I looked.
I am very stealthy.
Hmm. Are there other tests you intend for me?
We are close. We are close to the prey. We need to make sure that we stay as close together as we can. We should be there within a few hours in the morning. Get some rest.
All right.
We wanted to set camp up early so that we knew you would make it here on time.
Good. This time he sets up his stuff, but he faces the group
Okay.
and is like, he's trying to be hyper vigilant without completely wrecking his sleep.
All right. So night again goes by. This time, when you wake up in the morning, everyone's still there.
Okay.
Pretty tough journey. So we'll get ready. We'll do. Yes, let's get ready. Yes.
Yes.
Aye. Yes. So you begin traveling. You find your way to a large hill. Or sort of a ridge, if you will. And the ridge overhangs, and down 100 feet is a large plain that just stretches on. So there's the ridges that kind of overhang a couple different sides, and then a sort of a peninsula-like, entrance from the plains into this alcove, if you will. It's again, 60 to 80 feet down. The plains kind of comes up as it elevates, and then there's the plain that just kind of shoots off. You
Okay.
start to see woods beyond the plain. A few little trees here and there, but then you can kind of start to make out some trees beyond. And you just see these large bestial creatures, very cat-like, but just 60 feet tall, on all fours, just prowling. You wet yourself yet?
Aster doesn't say anything. He's just goggling at the massive, massive creatures.
Yeah, you see like 6 or 7 of them, and a couple of them start like play fighting, and you can feel the vibration in your feet when they hit the ground.
Aster looks at the spear in his hand and looks to whoever's nearby. What use is this?
What use? You poke it. You will poke it. We will all together.
And he kind of holds it up a little bit and tries to get like the spear, and he doesn't want to be like silhouetted, but just kind of compare the sizes from a distance.
Mm-hmm. It's bad when you know that they're probably like half a mile away from you, and they're still not being covered up by the sphere.
Yeah,
you know.
he's clearly shaken, but he's trying
Mm-hmm.
not to show it.
All right. Erkenbolt, is it ready? That it is. All right. Here's the plan. Kali is going to lure one of them into this piece of the ridge here, below us. When one of them comes in, Erkenbolt will unleash his trap. A large stone slab will slam shut, preventing it from leaving. However, the rest of the pack may still try to intervene, and we are afraid that they will climb the stone slab and perhaps pull it down. Yekares will try to keep the rest of the pack from doing so. It is here that Escalon, Erkenbol, Tianethra, Ayana, and Asur will, along with myself, begin taking the beast down. We will try to do as much as we can from a distance until we need to close in on the beast. It may be a good climber, and if so, we'll have to drop into the pit rapidly and engage it. If it leaves the pit, I do not believe we will be able to kill it. At least in the pit, it can be slowed. Its movement restricted. We're ready.
Esir kind of looks at everyone else and kind of judges their demeanors. They seem nervous, excited, relaxed.
Yeah, maybe more nervous and excited than anything. You just see them sort of all doing their prep, getting ready. Ka'ali goes over to the edge of the ridge, overlooking the plains, and just kind of kneels down and just stares towards her prey. Her role is to lure one of these in. You can get the sense that these tasks are very monumental. But imagine, you might start to wonder, like, what would you do if it was your job to lure one of those 7 beasts into this specific spot? Look at how large they are, how fast they must be. Kind of sit on the overhang in position. The chief walks over to Ka'ali. They seem to have a conversation in private. And he lays his hand on her. And then sort of steps away. And you watch as she stretches and gets down on all fours. And you watch as fur begins to erupt from her as she turns into seemingly like a black cat herself. A very large one. And then just darts off the side of the ridge, and you can see her very quickly. You see dust just billowing behind her as she swiftly just runs out into the plains as this cat-like form.
Asher tracks her with his eyes, kind of uncomprehending of what just happened.
Yeah. She is just bolting and you see that she gathers the attention of the pack, and she is going way off to the left, and you see the pack sort of move with her, sort of heading that way, and she circles back, and then there was one of the cats that sort of ended up in the back, and so when she pivots and starts running around the pack, the ones in the front turn, and that one in the back is now closest to her. And also closest to the area. And you see Yakaras now kneeling and has his hands on the ground, and he's straining, concentrating. And the panther comes into the ridge just running as fast as she can. And the small cat comes in, and you see Erkenbold on the other side take out an axe and just slam against this rope, and it goes undone, and you see this large stone slab just swing into position, and it kind of collides and bounces back and forth, sort of blocking the way at this point. You see the cat scramble up the side of the cliff, up this path that's a good size for the small cat, not so much for the large one. And Tianathra holds out her hand, and you hear as a storm begins billowing, and the rocks begin to turn to sludge. It's heading up the cliff. She's continuously concentrating as the rocks just you watch as several rocks towards the bottom just melt into this mud. And then you hear it. It's loud, billowing sound, and you look over your shoulder and you see this large, gigantic winged beast where Jackaras once stood. Billows and takes off and goes and stands on the stone slab. You just see flame just billow from his mouth. And the cats turn and they begin, stalking the stone slab, trying to get to their cub, but unsure of how to deal with the painful flame as this creature now stands on the stone slab, billowing its wings and just being threatening. Now we fight! You hear Ayana. She grabs her bow and pulls out these arrows. You hear the strain of the wood as she pulls back, and her arms just are flexed, and her back is flexed as she pulls back on this high poundage bow. See the arrow fly. The creature in the bottom, trying to scramble towards the panther-like creature. Kali hits towards the top, reverting back, just takes her spear and just chucks it as hard as she can to back down towards the creature. What would you like to do?
A lot of stuff just happened. But he takes direction from Kaali and picks one of the javelins from his back, kind of rears back to throw, aiming at the creature, and just throws it as strongly as he can.
Okay. With the distance, this is going to be at disadvantage.
Okay.
But unless you want to get down there with it.
No, I'm following instructions. They said we're gonna shoot it till we can't, then we're gonna go down. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
All right, a 17 plus 20, 26 to hit
Okay. Yeah, that hits.
for 11 damage.
Okay.
4 on a d6 plus 7.
All right. So the creature, the spear hits, and you watch it lodge itself into the meat of this large animal. Um, it seems to be scrambling around, and it seems to just be sliding in the mud as Tianethra just stands. She just has her eyes closed, and she's just focusing. You watch as the chief comes up and takes his staff and hits it into the ground, and you see as lights begin appearing on the opposite side of the ridge, and you see 10 figures of light appear, all pulling bows and launching arrows of light towards the creature itself as he sits there and focuses and directs the spirits. And you've heard of these spirits, but have never witnessed them. Dragon, again, and that's basically what you're witnessing on top of the stone slab, is breathing the fire again as the cats have attempted to get closer. It does that again, warding them off, and they're scared away again for just a moment, but it looks like they're still not trying to they're not giving up yet. Ka'ali takes another spear. Ayana launches another arrow. The arrow seems to be very effective. It's you're watching the spear of Ka'ali go, and it kind of wobbles a little in the air, and it deflects off, but the arrow seems to just keep that line at this distance and pierce into the creature very, very well. You see the large arrow, the stone arrowhead, is just slicing through the creature and going pretty deep. So it's probably cutting into a lot of muscle and everything. You see Escalon come up, and he goes right above where you see the soldiers of light, and you hear, and stones begin falling towards the creature. Just large boulders from above begin falling, and you watch as they get about halfway down, and then they all ignite on fire and slam into the creature.
Damn.
What would you like to do?
Hurling another javelin. I'm gonna be useful. Damn it.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll still at disadvantage. That is 22 to hit
Okay.
for 3 on a d6 for 10 damage.
Okay. So, and actually, you're seeing, now that I think about it, you're seeing Kali. She is just throwing just multiple jab, like she's throwing very fast. You know, like you've just never seen she's chucking like 3 javelins. And I forgot you actually got extra attack as well.
I do. So I can toss another one.
Yep. But it's like she's throwing 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. 16 plus 9, 27 or 25 to hit.
Okay.
And 6 on a d6 plus 7 is 13 damage.
All right. So you chuck a couple of javelins. Both of them seem to pierce into the creature. After the stones and Ka'ali, throwing a few javelins herself. Ayana, using the bow. You see Escalon again hold up his hand, and from the storm cloud that Tanethra has created, a bolt of lightning streaks down and just hits the creature. Again, the dragon wards off the creatures, the other cats, and this time they seem to run off towards the plains at this point, now being warded off a third time. And he shifts and turns around, and you see the long neck and the large wings just unfurl. The chief again points, and you see the bolts of light come down from the 10 light, archers of light. Each of the soldiers of light they're all individual. They look of different races and look like they are actually a being, a spirit called forth. The creature gets free from the mud and reaches up high enough to grab some stone and begins clawing its way up. Ka'ali kind of stops because it's climbing straight towards her, and you see her appear as the cat again and run over towards the group. She's very fast as she shifts into this form and runs over, coming back up. He's gonna get away. He's going to get away. No, we'll kill it. Something has to block his path. Escalon's is. I can try to make it slip. And he holds his hand out, and rock begins to crumble down, and you see the creature just quickly scurrying and holding its grip, but not falling. Come on. Ayana hits you on the shoulder. We go fight.
Yes.
She runs over, and as she is doing so, fur begins growing on her as well. She doesn't turn into an animal, she just turns into a representation of it. A large, bear-like humanoid as she is now running.
I'm running after her.
Okay.
I reach for my little bit larger spear,
Mm-hmm.
my shield up, and like running to block the creature's path as it climbs.
Yeah, the two of you get over, and she reaches on her back and she pulls out what is essentially a large stone slab that is basically the a great club at this point. And she
Yeah.
just grabs it with two hands as a bear. The cat starting to climb up, and you see its large claw reach over the top of the ridge, and she takes her club and bam, and just hits one of the fingers. That's about all she can hit. And claw kind of recoils from the hard hit. You see another claw on your side.
I will stab at it, letting out a yell.
Okay, go ahead and roll.
That is 13 on the dice, plus 9 is 22 to
All
hit.
right, that'll hit.
4 on the d6, plus 7 is 11. And while I'm striking, I'm calling upon the light to protect, to
Okay,
keep this creature where it's supposed to be. I want to smite it.
okay, go ahead.
For 7 extra.
7 extra.
Yep,
2d8.
2d8, yep. 4 and 3.
All right. Between all the damage it's taken, it's actually you can kind of glance over as you smite, and it recoils back and slides down the hill just a little bit. It's starting. I mean, it's looking pretty bad at this point. After having boulders and everything rain on top of it, a couple pieces of lightning, spears and arrows, and all the light archers and everything. It's looking pretty bad. You see it rears back and it leaps over you, like sailing over you. It just leaps high, and you and Ayana just watch it as it goes over the top of you and lands on the ridge behind you. And it stares at you and rears back for a swipe just as the large creature that was standing on the stone slab hits it and rolls with it. And they tumble and tumble until it pulls out its wings and sort of takes aloft a little bit. The creature's on its back, and it flips up to the front as a breath of fire just rakes over the top of it. And the smoke clears, and you see the creature just laying there, just you just hear it breathing heavily. Ayana just walks over to it. She rears back. You just hear this crunch as she hits it on the top of the head. You hear her scream as her form is reverted back. Gather around the creature. Plenty of meat for the tribe. The large creature that you assume to be Yakares begins taking its talons and just grabbing at pieces and just ripping off sections, trying to make it smaller and more manageable. Erkenbold goes over to a cave and pulls out this large thing, this large contraption. You see Ayana and Kali go over and help him drag this thing out as they begin putting parts on it. It has these fence-like edges and everything, and it just seems to be a transport of some kind, that Erkenbolt had designed. You see Ayana transform again into the bear-like creature, and you see Kaali turn into a large bear-like creature herself. Just something just capable of just pulling. And they grab onto the ropes on either side and just begin tugging and dragging this thing, as it seems to have, like the wheels on the side, to just allow it to traverse this terrain just a little easier, but it's going to be a lot of work, to have to
Right.
pull this thing themselves. But you see Yakares land on top of the parts of the creature and just revert back to his form, and he's sitting on the thing just that was hard.
Yes. Yes, it was. And Asur, the minute his like fight or flight registers that it's safe, he kind of buckles onto his knees and is just like kind of breathing really hard and trying to put himself back together.
Mm-hmm. The Erkenbold's behind. Come on, boy. Rest comes soon.
He stumbles to his feet and follows.
You did good, lad.
That was a lot. Everyone turned into bears and beasts, and he's just kind of a little out of it, almost concussed.
We started calling him a dragon.
Dragon. I think the beast is more fearsome than that one, and he points to the big cat.
Uh, you might think that, but try taking on 5 at a time, and you will be thinking differently.
He nods wide-eyed.
Truly a team effort.
Everyone works well together. It was like a plan.
We either work together or we die.
Mm, kind of grunts. He follows the rest and sees if there's anything he can help with.
It seems you're just kind of gathering that, a few of them are resting. It seems that Kali and Ayana are the only two with power enough to drag this thing. And then the following day, it seems Yakares opens up the morning, shifting into that dragon-like form, and they tie the ropes to him, and he just drags this thing very swiftly. He seems to be a very strong creature, giving the two girls a break for the morning, and then he rest, and then they take over. Trying to just get there, and your speed is just not what it was heading here,
Right.
and it takes about 3 or 4 days to get back to camp. And when they do, you notice that you know 3 or 4 of them grab onto the rope and begin pulling this thing, and they don't showcase their forms because you've never seen this,
Right.
and you can kind of tell now that this is kind of what they were talking about, that they keep these things secret because they're not sure how the village is going to react to that kind of creature, especially with that creature resembling something from the dark. The dragon form, is whatever it is. They're he seems to be afraid, and he sort of talks about that they're sort of afraid that these abilities that they use could be construed as something from the dark, because they're not 100% sure how they were acquired. you know Aside from, like, Tianethra's is more light oriented, her healing and stuff like that. The chiefs, the spirits of light, they're not the spirits of dark. So
Hmm.
they kind of have revealed that there's something strange going on, with these few people. But, like, you've never heard of Ayana's ability, you've never heard of Kali, Iskelen, you've never seen, someone just reach out and just rip the earth apart, cause lightning to come down, and, very destructive power, But at the same time, you also saw the benefits of it. He's able to coax this fire into existence and sort of have some measure of control over it. The food is delivered. The village is excited, and some time will pass as you are sort of inducted into the hunters. You go out on several more missions. Nothing quite as drastic as that one.
Hmm.
Prey just a lot easier. They can stalk it and sort of attack it using more conventional means. They seem to utilize these powers more the greater the target, and utilize them less for lesser targets. Um, as you kind of go on a few more hunts with them. I'm sorry to have called you all so swiftly after a hunt, but I have received word that the Mountain of Light itself requires our aid. There is a beacon upon the mountain that sheds its light and gives us the lights we see. And the darkness has decided to come for it and take it away from us. Cannot allow this to happen. And I believe that we are the only ones equipped to drive off these dark forces. All right. I want to thank everybody for watching. If you want to, come hop into Discord. And we'll chat just a little bit. You know, maybe share some theories and things like that. Part 2 is already recorded, and I'm going to work on that, and it will probably be released after Saturday's game. Oh boy. We'll see you all later.